So we're now back from Spa, and today is going to be the day where I can finally show some of you guys how to manage my cars, my 4-post lift and my embedded lift. So first of all, I always mark the exact place where the 4-post lift stands. So at least 2 corners over here. Then I obviously need to get out all of the cars. So with all the cars now out, I went and took out these trolleys. So as you can see, there is like one huge Teflon wheel on it. This stick goes right into this hole, and then the weight of the 4-post lift puts itself on this bracket and then lifts it up itself. The 4 carriers are now under the 4-post lift, and this will look pretty much like this. It really is only moving very slowly because there is no weight on it, and now I can pretty much move this around on my own. I moved it over as far as I could, but now I can't put a car underneath there, unfortunately. That's how you move around a 4-post lift in a pretty small garage. And after a whole day of working on cars, rearranging them, moving them back and forth, I have to say goodbyes to someone which has been a very dear friend of mine over the past few months. The DJI is officially dead. It was standing somewhere, I don't know where, but on my trapdoor going in the basement. This thing fell down 3 meters on the ground, and you can probably tell the top part isn't even moving anymore. The screen is fine, it still works somehow, but yeah, the gimbal is blocked and I will not be able to use this camera anymore, unfortunately. I also want to give you an update on the suspension, because on our way to Spa Francorchamps I realized that the suspension was pretty firm, and that when I went over like short and steeper bumps, there was a lot of movement in the car. I was going back and forth with tire pressure and the anti-roll bar settings, and I also adjusted the low speed bump on the suspension, which is very accessible on the bottom part, front and rear, but I forgot almost about it being a V3 and having also a high speed adjustment. And this is what I did today. So I checked how many clicks there were on the front. Unfortunately, it is very hard to get to those in the rear, because the head of the strut is somewhere around here, obviously in the engine compartment. So you really have to get your arm in here, through here, and you can tell there is not a lot of space, and you really need to go and put your arm all the way back there. Very awkward position to get your hand in there, but 12 at the front, 10 in the rear, and I dialed it down halfway so that I have a reference. And even now, only driving over this small, very, very small lip, I could already feel a difference. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to take it for a spin and give you an update on the entire setup. Unlucky me, unlucky me. So on my test drive with the 964 to go to a oldtimer breakfast, I took the daughter out with me, and the spoiler had an error. The light came on and I didn't see the rear spoiler pop up in the rear view mirror, so I thought, oh, that's not good. I had both of the control lights on. I stopped the car and I quickly realized that the spoiler was stuck in a certain position and didn't move up or down anymore. So usually either the gearbox or the engine of the spoiler is broken, but I call myself the 1% Alex after all I've been through, and so that worm screw, I think it's called, it is all tangled up and I don't know what to do. This can be detached, but it is like glued or welded together in this housing. I saw a lot of tutorials on how to crack this thing open. So my problem lies between the two, but you don't get this part as a repair part. For now, the motor is completely disconnected and you could theoretically just move the spoiler up and down by hand. I think that I'm going to find a solution pretty quickly and just let the car be parked in the garage for the time being. So yeah, when you think you're done, you're never done. You're never done. Oh, and for those of you who think, why don't you just buy a new one? This part costs new on eBay around 1,000 euros, and even used it is around 400 to 500 euros. So I really pray that Charles has the solution for me, because I'm not going to pay 1,000 euros for the gearbox and that linkage. So no chance. In there goes the square spindle. I cleaned it all up and it was pretty rusty in there, as you might also be able to tell from the state of the end of the spindle, and it is really having a hard time, but I think it's more due to rust than anything else. I tested the gearbox, it lets it turn very easily, so I don't think that the issue lays in a seized bearing or anything. For now I'm going to open up the housing of the gearbox and get a look inside there. After literally 20 minutes of cutting and using the spatula to get between both parts, I finally managed to get a look inside there. So it is really not meant to be done. Watch out to not break anything at this point. There you go. It is really disgusting in there. Wow. So this is the gearing. I don't know if you can hear it. Probably not the best. So I might be changing this out as well and giving this a good clean. And then here you can finally see the spindle. I can now take it out and you can clearly tell that the bearing so rusty that it became a unit with the plastic, and you can also tell that the spindle is moving around. So I think that the bearing here is completely perished. Usually I'm not the type of person to do the exact opposite of what I just told you, but this time I didn't have a choice really. Let me show you. So I told you that I was going to replace the spindle because it was rusty and that the parts in there cost like 10 euros, and I would not be paying around 500 to 1,000 euros to get a new gearbox. But I didn't pay that price for a new one. It is a very good one, used obviously, and my buddy Charles is regularly getting rid of those, and I asked him, well, don't you have one laying around for me? And he did, and I offered him the same price as the gearbox I found on eBay, so I paid 150 euros for this gearbox, and it is in very good shape. You still have the dust cover. Yeah, the mantle on this area is a bit worn out, but nothing dramatic, and yeah, everything is still in one piece. So this is going to go in the car right now, so that I finally have a working spoiler again. Okay, so now with all the parts cleaned, motor, gearbox, spindle, and I even put my screws in some WD-40 to get all of the grime off it. So here you can see the mechanism of the spoiler, and the motor screws in this place with 3 screws, and then the gearing goes into here, and I absolutely need to put some new grease on here because the thing here looks absolutely disgusting. This is like the end point where the spoiler meets this switch, and it will stop at this end point. So bottom end point, here is the other end point. So the gearing is now in. I connected the motor and also the cable on this side, and for now there is like no grease on there. There is some sort of adjustment with a long hole on this side so that the gearing can be moved up and down. I am now going to use this switch to see if the gearing is working correctly and if the end or start and end points are working correctly, and then I'm going to grease it all up, cover it all up again, and then I think that this thing is going to be done. Ignition on, and then I'm going to use the switch here. Works just fine. It is a bit noisy though. I'm going to grease it all up now. That's nice. Everything is now greased up and put together. I think that I still have to make some minor adjustments on the end position because it really does put a lot of strength on this spindle. You can already tell that it is cracked or whatever, I don't know. For now, this is now done and I can shut it down and take it for a ride, take it for a test drive.